Welcome, everyone, to the Dance Floor podcast, where life lessons are learned through the art of dance. I'm your host, Anna Harsh, and today I have a super special guest with me, Miss Emily Battles. She's a dancer, an actress, a singer, as well as an exercise specialist. I'm so excited to bring her into the dance floor here. Miss Emily Battles, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked to be here.
Emily, I've known you forever and a super long time, but we've kept in touch throughout the decades. Yeah, decades.
Yeah, it's been that long.
It's been that long. Yeah. Emily was a beautiful dancer in my company, Allegro dance company, back in the mid 90s-ish, and got a chance to tour with us and dance and perform and sing as well for some shows in the past, and grace our stage with her beautiful talents. And now she's living in New York, and I know you have been doing so many cool things. I've been following you on Instagram. So Emily, for those that are listening, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Like, how'd you get into dance and your fitness?
Yeah, of course. So I have always kind of had a passion for musical theater. I remember listening to Les Mis for the first time and, with my best friend thinking, oh my God, what is this thing? So, part of the discipline is learning dance. So I started off with ballet. My best friend, Elizabeth Nutter, was taking ballet, and it was kind of like a cool thing that we did to bond, but like, we were never that serious. Saturday mornings, as soon as dance class was over, like we would be at the DQ getting sundaes, hanging out by the jukebox. So like we were always like a little bit more like casual dancers. But yeah, ballet led to jazz led into more modern. That's kind of where I found Allegro and you. And then through college, just started training through all the disciplines that you need to potentially grace the stage, tap, musical theater dance, specifically more lyric. And was, never the strongest dancer in the program, but, a decently adequate one, I would say.
Yeah. Oh gosh, your lines for ballet were so beautiful. And I know
thank you.
Singing came into so easily for you. I mean, I loved listening to you, and I know that you graced our stage several times singing for different performances and things like that. Yeah. I know you've been vocally trained, dance trained, and then you've done a lot of acting too, different types of acting, right? Improv and theater.
Yeah. I started off in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Mike Simons, God rest, he cast me in my first show, which was Hello, Dolly. And that was pretty much it. It was like meeting your soulmate for the first time. It's like, this is the thing that I love. And it's always just kind of been, just chasing the dream.
Yeah. He directed West Side Story that I was in. And I got a chance to play a shark. And so I love dancing and singing in that musical. And then, I did choreography for lots of musicals. I've done, almost 55 musicals now that I've choreographed, which is crazy pants. But
I've done West Side twice. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, me too. That's probably one of my go-tos. Like, I want to go back to that. But then you got into something different. You moved to New York, and now you're into some other kinds of movement.
Yeah. One thing I can tell you right away, if you are thinking about moving into the city, get ready to find some survival jobs. I mean, Some people are very lucky and hit the ground running and, book straight out of college. But most of us have to, at least some point or another, like find a decent survival job. At the time I was working retail at Apple, which was a wonderful job, had great benefits, but I was really kind of burnt out. Technology is fine, but it's not something that I'm super passionate about necessarily. And it felt very much like a job. And I literally woke up one day, I was just like, life is too short to like feel mediocre about anything. So there has to be some way to make money where I'm not, just kind of like phoning it in and just going through the motions.
Not just going through the motions and putting in the hours. You want to feel like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And a very dear friend of mine, I'll shout him out, Maddie Harris, had been kind of like poking me. You talk about, oh my God, this man can dance. I worked with him on an entertainment ship, and he's so phenomenal. He's so talented, but he was also a dance fitness instructor specifically. And I had taken a bunch of classes with him, and he's like, I think you might be good you might be good at this. And I hemmed and hawed. I was like, it's so much work. I can't. But always in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe I should.
Yeah.
And one day I was just like, nope, screw it, gonna do it. And I started studying for my certification. I got through NCSF, the National Council of Strength and Fitness, and studied every day on my breaks at Apple and passed. And then I started off at Crunch, which is a chain of gyms in New York. All of the people that I admired at that point were all working at Equinox. So it was really kind of like wanting to get in there. Finally was hired at the Rockefeller Center location. And it became really evident that I didn't want to necessarily work for like a corporate gym, because it wasn't exactly what it sounded like. It wasn't.
It never is.
Yeah, the clients weren't always the priority, and it was very much like a numbers game, and I did not love that. Some people thrive in that sort of like environment, but I did not. And I did meet my mentor there, one Monty Mater. I love this girl so much. Shout out to her if she listens. But she really kind of like took me under her wing, and I learned so much there.
Maybe that was meant to be, though. Maybe you were meant to, sometimes our stepping stones, don't feel like stepping stones, but then you meet someone, you're like, yes, this is my path.
Yeah. And like, she's still like in terms of like knowledge base and expertise, is like the most knowledgeable, well-rounded, intellectual trainer that I know. Like, she's phenomenal, and a wonderful entertainer in her own right. She's also in Nashville right now pursuing a musical career. So that's great for her. But yeah, there was a crazy set of circumstances. So I wanted out of Equinox, and my friend Maddie, who I mentioned before, in passing when we were working together, said, "Oh, funny enough, I have a friend named Emily Battle, who I went to college with." I was like, that's kind of crazy. So I just followed her on Instagram instinctively. Beautiful, talented performer in her own right. Also very gifted Pilates instructor, as well as, just a general fitness instructor, and just kind of followed her. I thought she was like super cool. And then saw that she had gotten the Bat Out of Hell tour, the Meatloaf musical. And I realized there was a spot at the mom and pop gym where she was working, presumably opening up because she was going on tour.
Right.
And it was like a major national tour. So I knew it would be a while. So I DM'd the owner of the gym, and I said something to the effect of like, "Hey, I know Emily Battles, sort of. I know there might be a spot opening up at your gym. We have the same name, so you wouldn't have to introduce your clients to anything or anybody new, really. You can just tape a little S onto all."
Oh my God,
stuff.
That's hysterical.
So like, that was kind of like my funny in, and it got me an interview.
See.
And they hired me, and the rest is history. And then, I'm sorry, I have to tell this one little like addendum. So we still have never physically actually met.
Oh, that's funny.
We've like Zoomed, like our paths have crossed like a bunch of times. I saw online that she was looking for a physical therapist for her mom outside of Philly. And I gave her my brother's information, and she's like, we're actually looking for a woman. I was like, great. So she calls my brother's clinic, not knowing it's my brother's clinic. I didn't know that like she had called there, and she randomly got assigned to my brother. And when Emily's mom walked in, she was like, "Oh, well, I thought I was getting a female therapist, but this is completely fine. Like, I'm happy to work with you." So like, after all, she ended up working with my brother, and my brother's met Emily now at this point, and I still haven't. So it's like weird how our paths have like oddly intertwined.
Again, I just
like
think I just think that you were chosen to go that path because look how many other people you have helped. Just because of you messaging that one person, other things have happened, and other people have been helped because of you.
Yeah.
So,
and shout out to Battle Body. Everyone follow Emily Battle on Instagram, because again, another brilliant trainer, another like fabulous woman in fitness. I am happy to share the love out there, because these ladies are great.
That's so funny, Emily. That's a really cool story, and how you connected with her and how that connection made another connection. So there you are, everyone.
Yep.
You never know who you message,
the world is small.
The world is very small. So take care of one another, right? Emily, we're going to take a really quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about what inspires you and some advice for those, dancers or new artists that might be coming into the city. What should they do and that sort of thing. So we'll be right back, everyone, with Emily Battles with an S. Welcome back, everyone. We're here with dancer, singer, actress, and fitness specialist, Emily Battles. You need to follow her on Instagram. She has the coolest workouts. I've been trying to keep up with you, Emily, with all the cool things that you are posting out there. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that exercise. That looks cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try that. It gets me out of my comfort zone and what I'm used to teaching, and challenges me and something new that I could give my clients and my, dancers that I'm training. So when you put some things together, what inspires you? Like, how do you keep all the routines fresh?
We were having a little pregame conversation, you and I, and you were saying like one thing that you're constantly telling people is like, do your research. And the fitness community in general is pretty generous, especially I think with the pandemic. A lot of professionals were putting a lot of great content online.
For sure.
Especially with regard to stuff that can be done with minimal equipment, or, like where you can spend money thoughtfully, and like what you can use in your own home, and like, like how you can effectively keep yourself fit and healthy without necessarily like committing to going to a gym, especially if you have like someone professionally making sure that you are doing things with good form, that you're not going to injure yourself, and that you're being challenged too, and the accountability factor. So I love combing the internet for new workouts, new moves, new creative ways to use my home space. There's no end to what you can learn. Like it's everything. Yeah. Everything is always being updated, and there are new ways of thinking and new studies. So every time I log on to my computer, there's something new I learn. And obviously like it doesn't necessarily, it's not all relegated to like movement, right. So much of what you do is nutrition, is getting enough sleep, is drinking water. And like, how does that correlate? So like, even when you scrape the surface of like just, physiological movement, then there's like the compoundness of everything else that goes on top of that. So
right.
That's what I think.
You have to think about the 360, the mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly.
I mean, the wellness industry has just grown exponentially. And I know here on the dance floor, I posted a free meditation so that people can be like a guided meditation. Super important to take that mental break too. And that's hard when you're really busy. And especially now that everybody's mostly working at home, if not, they're working like a hybrid of home and, at the office perhaps, and they need that break. And maybe it's a physical break, maybe you need to go for that walk, or maybe you need to do those like a plank or something just to refocus your body and mind.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's a lot of free things out there, and there's a lot of you're right. The exercise community, we have all stepped up and said, hey, try this. How about that? Being really inclusive and trying to include everybody in our circle of goodness and wellness. And so I think that's really important. What's some advice maybe you would give the next generation, either to stay well or maybe how to survive like you are? I know, working these other jobs is always necessary for an artist. Let's face it. We all have 15 jobs.
Kind of related, honestly. I very much thought as a young, naive performer that, I would graduate Interlochen, go to Carnegie Mellon, graduate, move to the city, and be on Broadway. Like right. I thought that was just the way things were going to go. And life is never that linear. So I would say my best advice is like, kind of embrace the twists and turns, because they're gonna happen, and there's so much more to be garnered from like that fork in the road than just like smooth sailing forward. So like I was never athletic. If anything, like I was a little bit of a chunky kid. So to find myself in the fitness industry, if you had asked like 7-year-old me, I would have like spit took in your face.
Right.
So yeah, and this has brought me like so much joy and so much fulfillment. So yeah, I would say like, you know, have dreams, have goals, sure, but like when life throws you a curveball, just try to swing for the fences.
Absolutely. And it's hard, and your goals might change, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to let go of certain dreams because they might be reformed and reshaped into a new dream that brings you, like you said, so much joy. You know, different things bring me joy now than 25 years ago. You
Yeah.
know, like you said, like if as a dance major, I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to dance in a company. I had no intentions of starting my own company. So
That's a great point. Like
yeah.
during the pandemic, I've always kind of like categorized myself as a follower. I'm not necessarily, I don't consider myself like a really great leader. I think I'm competent and capable, but I'm not someone who like will start a revolution. But during the pandemic, I had a very good friend who started just these group readings of plays. Like he specialized in like very classic American and British plays, you know, Tennessee Williams, Arthur Miller, and the like. And I love that stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, well, I have so many talented friends who are playwrights, and like, there's a lot of like an exciting modern stuff going on here. So what if I gave my friends a platform to read works that they're working on during the pandemic, or like, you know, give some new work like a, you know, a little bit of time in the spotlight. So I started what's now known as the Wine Box Players.
That's
And every
so
Friday
cool.
night, some playwrights and actor friends and I would get together and read. Our sweet spot was like 10 to 30-minute short, 1 or 2 act plays. And we afterwards we called it the after party. We would, you know, open a bottle of wine or box as it were, and we would discuss what we had seen and just like the industry in general. And there's no way I thought I could do something like that if it hadn't been for the world shutting down. Like I wouldn't even considered it.
So many
So
creative things. Yeah. So many
yeah,
creative things have come out of the pandemic. And
yeah,
obviously leave it to the artist to you know, find a way around it and still create and bring some amazing upscale, I have to say, some really amazing upscale kinds of work.
yeah.
And
I'm amazed what
and
we could do with technology.
absolutely. So where can we witness this? Like where can we hear your plays and that sort of thing? Where can we watch?
Honestly, I'm trying to kind of like take this to the next level. To be perfectly frank, at this time, it's more of like a fiscal setback.
Okay.
A theater company take funding, and that's
Sure.
not something that a lot of, you know, it's not necessarily forthcoming at the moment. So we're just keeping it kind of like
Like on a
intimate.
practice level.
Yeah,
Okay.
like intimate and like online, but we are like trying to move to the next level.
Are you like a
Um,
GoFundMe page or something like that?
No, not yet, because like we don't have, and this is on me, like I don't have a clear vision of like what is
What it's
next.
going to be?
Like exactly, like do we try to find like a venue? Like do we throw all our resources at a specific play? So like once I have a
Yeah.
clear vision of like what we're going to do moving forward, absolutely. I would just say if you're interested, you can contact me via email or DM me through my Instagram, which I'll give you later. Otherwise, yeah, you can follow me. I have two Instagrams. I'm M Bats with a Z. And then my fitness page is Body by Battles. But yeah,
Emily, that's
uh,
so exciting. And I can include that
yeah,
information on the notes for the podcast. So
yeah.
if people maybe they want to fund your project, or maybe there's an investor out there that's like, that sounds really cool. And I want to put my 2 cents in to help them get started. Maybe you could have a grassroots fundraising process.
Yeah,
Who
I mean that
knows?
would be amazing. I feel so passionate about this, and one of our plays actually got picked up recently from a festival, so I am involved in that.
That's awesome.
So there is forward movement, but
Sure.
yes, there's obviously room for growth.
Well, as you remember, my Allegro started in my mom and dad's backyard. So anything is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally a grassroots project. So anything is possible. And that's exciting to have something new. I love it. I love that, Emily. There's so many cool projects that you're doing and inventing, and being that creative person and soul that I know that you always have been. Yeah, she's a triple threat and she's a real deal. So definitely follow Emily Battles on Instagram. She's a high kicking kind of gal. So what's next for you, Emily? It sounds like this could be the next project for you, or taking this to the next level, does theater on the go kind of thing.
Yeah. I would say, in terms of like performance or creative endeavor, definitely try to figure out how to take Winebox to the next level, kind of solidify a vision there. One of our playwrights, Zach Woven-Smith, who's also a phenomenal actor in his own right, one of his pieces that we workshopped in Winebox got accepted into a theater festival. Wow. So I'm going to be involved with that, along with another very, very talented actress. So that's a live performance that's on the horizon that I'm super excited about. Every year I get involved with Chris Wade Music Productions caroling company called the Jolly Holidays. So we will be doing holiday events throughout the city in like full Dickinsonian garb, which is super, super fun. Singing Christmas carols and holiday songs.
I've seen you in that costume, and she truly turns herself into a caroler. Like, I truly believe that you are that figurine caroler that I have like on my nightstand, for the holiday season. I have 4 carolers that I usually put out, and she truly does. I mean, it looks gorgeous, and you guys sound amazing as well. And you travel throughout the New York City, different places. Are you hired for like festival events and holiday parties?
So we're definitely do private events and all that fun stuff. We are the official carolers of Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. So we have regular gigs up there in the Italian section of
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Bronx, New York. So cool. That's a really fun gig. And then like we also in previous years have had a contract with One World Trade Center, Bryant Park. One of the other groups is going to be featured in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade right before Santa, our doo-wop group, The Accidentals. So super excited for them. So yeah, and then in terms of like other things that I do with my voice, I am a cast member on a D&D actual play podcast called Cast Die podcast, which is also on Instagram. And they've done several campaigns at this point. A lot of really, really talented voiceover actors in that particular endeavor. And then I'm also gearing up for season 2 of Windfall, which is another sci-fi podcast. This is a dramatic sci-fi podcast. So
that's so cool.
We are starting, we're starting after 2 years, getting season 2 underway, which is super exciting.
Emily, your plate is full. You're making me exhausted.
I do a lot. I wear like a lot of hats, as it were.
She does wear a lot of hats. Yes. Yeah. But you've always kind of been that way. Like I said, you're a triple threat, and now you're adding all these amazing things to use with your beautiful voice, not only singing, but acting, voiceovers, all kinds of podcasts, and here making your debut on the Dance Floor podcast. I love it.
Yes.
For all those artists out there or creative souls that are listening around the world, we do welcome you into our circle. We know you're working hard this holiday season for whatever you're doing, whatever you're creating. And just think about Emily, you don't know what path you will be on, and one person can definitely lead you to another. So network, everyone, network, corral your friends. They all have experiences that maybe you don't have, that you could share with each other and teach each other. And I think that's what it's all about, Emily. We're learning from each other. And I know I've picked up some amazing things from you throughout your Instagram posts. And I'm hoping that I get to see you again in the city. Maybe I can come up again next year and see you in the city and have a visit and go shopping or have some lunch again and do something fun. Things
are opening up. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting, everyone. Things are starting to open up, even though we're in our little boxes still right now and you're listening to the podcast. Go outside, take a walk, get some exercise, and enjoy some of the creative things that both of us are going to be doing in the next year. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving, Emily. I know we'll be in touch really soon. And I'm so glad you joined me on the dance floor today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This has been a treat.
I just love catching up with you. It's amazing to see all the Allegro alumni and all the cool things you guys are doing now. And I'm so glad I was just a little tiny pebble in your little journey of amazingness. And so thank you for gracing the stages in the past. And I can't wait to see you grace the stage in the future.
You and me both.
Yes, just to hear that applause again. It's so nice. Well, thanks everyone for listening in today. We are the Dance Floor Podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your host, Anna Harsh. And until next time, keep moving on the dance floor.